Good morning, everybody. Today's What Sold video takes place from the 15th through the 21st of May 2025. We did not have any sales on Mercari this week, so kind of back to normal. However, we did get one today, so hopefully in the next What Sold video you will get to see that. So we're going to start off on Poshmark. We sold a pair of Judy Blue bootcut stretch jeans in a size 20 for $25. So we profited 16 on those after all the fees and our cost of goods. We sold a pair of Talbot's jeggings in a size 8. Those sold for $15. A Talbot's linen dress in a size extra large sold for $28. A pair of American Eagle high-rise jeggings in a size 16 sold for $21. And then our Clueless costume that we just listed like last week sold for $30. That was really fun. It sold outright. And the girl who bought it was asking, she said, "Can you please send this ASAP? I have a costume party I'm going to this weekend." And so I said, definitely. I'm always happy to try to get things shipped really, really quickly when people message me. I do have a bit of a longer shipping time on eBay. We put the maximum, or at least it used to be the maximum. It's like 5 days handling time, which does sound like a lot, but we always would rather overestimate how long it might take us to get something out. Usually we do packages every 2 to 3 days, three at the longest, because whenever something sells on Mercari, they only give you 3 days to ship. Poshmark prefers you to ship within 2 to 3 days as well. But sometimes life happens and it can take a little longer. So we always put that 5 handling day time on eBay just in case. And that way people kind of overestimate how long it might take for them to receive their item and aren't disappointed and then are happily, pleasantly surprised if it arrives sooner. So anyway, this was the costume that I got for, I think it was like $3 at that children's consignment sale. So in total on Poshmark, we profited $75.20. Next, we'll go to eBay. This was a Torrid Newest Tags top. It sold for $15. A Wizard of Oz Scarecrow Barbie. So this was where there was a little bit of a blunder, I guess, on our part. And I just realized it when I was pulling up these today to calculate profits. So when I listed all of these Barbies recently, I did weigh them. And so I weighed him in at like, let's say, a pound and a half. And I overestimated to 2 pounds just because I thought I did put him in a pretty heavy box, but I thought I know once we add some like packing paper and things to secure him, he might go up in price or in weight, which will then affect the price. What I did not do was any measurements of a box because I did not know what box he would be in. That was my mistake. So technically, I guess because he didn't have any measurements for what his box would be, eBay set the price pretty low for the calculated shipping. This only went to Florida, and we live in North Carolina, and it cost the buyer $6.29. However, once my husband went and packed up the Scarecrow doll and put him in a box and put the weight in, which was accurate, but when he put the measurements in, then it jumped up to us paying $12.23. So obviously we lost out on like $6 additional. So our profits here were, well, we definitely didn't profit on him because my husband bought these Barbies for me and he spent like $40 each years ago. But obviously, you can't always make your money back for things like that. And we still consider his cost of goods being $4. So essentially, you could say we profited $14.73 on him, but it was definitely a mistake. So what I did this morning right before this video was I went back to all of the Barbies I have listed and I added a large box that I have here that just came from Walmart. It's what we used to use to store our listed inventory in. They are 17 by 11 by 13, and that's the biggest box that I could see us needing to use for one of these Barbies. So I put those measurements on there. And then when I went to see how it affected the cost, if someone in my town in North Carolina were to have bought this this doll, they would have spent like 580 on shipping before I had put measurements in. Now that I added measurements, it put it up to like 1280. So I think that's going to be more accurate. So I just added the 17 by 11 by 13. So I would suggest getting a standard box that will fit most of your larger hard good items and using that as a reference. And then for the most part, if it's a little bit smaller than that or bigger than that, you're not going to be off by too much. Worst case scenario, if the buyer overpays and you're feeling considerate, you could say, "Hi, I ended up using a smaller box and I'm going to refund you a couple dollars for the shipping cost." Next was a Southern Marsh t-shirt and it sold for $14. A Talbot's white sleeveless eyelet top in a 2X. This was one that we had purchased from my mom. This sold for 14. And then the pink version in an extra large sold for 12.50. A Ralph Lauren top we also got from my mom, sold for 27. She was so excited when I sent her all the screenshots of her things that sold. And she said, "Man, I just never thought that just that Ralph Lauren top would have brought in anything, especially that much money." And then here was the Dorothy doll we shipped, and you see it kind of happened again. They got charged 682. We spent 767. Luckily, that wasn't as much going towards it. I don't know why. I don't know, maybe if he had a smaller box he was able to use or what, but it's just crazy to me that just a few extra inches on a box can cost so much, such a difference. And then a pair of J. Jill pants. These sold for 21.25. These were on here like a day when they sold, so that was exciting. And lastly, a pair of Gap khaki pants. These my mom got for $1 at the consignment sale or the consignment store sale. They sold for $15. This was like, I wouldn't say this was a blunder, but this was a learning experience for me. So the person who was interested in these asked me if I would be able to ship them overnight. I found out pretty quickly that eBay will not allow you to change the shipping process, like ground advantage, priority, blah, 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 whatever. Um, if it's already listed, it's like a locked feature, I guess. And so I told her that I could, but I was going to have to delist them, relist them with the new shipping option. And she asked if I thought $20 would cover it. And I said, honestly, no. When I looked up overnight shipping, for one, there's actually not overnight shipping. It's only like a 2-day shipping that USPS does. And I said, it looks like for flat rate envelopes, it would be 27.20 for shipping by actual weight. And I think these were only like 2 pounds or a pound and a half. It was going to be like $35. So I said the cheapest rate would be 27.20 to go flat rate envelope if that's what you would like to do. And she said that she was fine paying that. I have no idea why she needed these so quickly, but I was glad to be able to help her in this situation. And so I agreed. Now, she did pay for it. Um, and as you can see, it was 15 plus, so she paid $43 for these, which, ooh, that's surprising. Um, Obviously we don't get all of that because the 27.20 went to the shipping. So what we did was we had her pay. My husband printed out the shipping label and I ran these to the post office and I got one of their express, I think it's like Priority Express 2-day flat rate envelopes. And I did tell her, I said, now there's no guarantee this will come overnight because it's 2 days shipping. So I don't want you to expect it the very next day. It might take the 2 days. And it looks like it is. It got to her state today, which is 2 days after we shipped it. So it should get there today on that second day. But I guess the learning experience for me was to offer that express shipping means I also couldn't wait for the USPS to pick it up from my house. They had already come by that morning, and by the time she bought it, the postman was gone. So I had to take it to the post office. The post office that we use is at least about 15 minutes away. So there was the drive time and the gas and all those kind of things. And then besides that, there was the fact that something I hadn't considered, eBay does not take the percentage for their selling fee out of the subtotal. They take it out of the subtotal plus the shipping and tax. So they didn't just give me a fee off the $15. They got my fee off of the 43. So technically, if she's paying, even though she's paying the shipping cost, I'm still paying a higher percentage because of the higher shipping cost, if that makes sense. So we ended up paying $587 out of a transaction fee, which would have been much less had the shipping been the like $5 or $6 doing Ground Advantage. But that's okay. I mean, I'm just glad that these sold and we profited $5.13 off of them, which brought our eBay total profit to $101.27, meaning for the third week of May, our total profits were $176.47. That's, of course, a lot less than the first 2 weeks were, but I know that people were probably using their tax refund money and spending money that they either received for Mother's Day or wanting to buy gifts, last minute gifts for Mother's Day and things like that. So I'm fine with that. We made a lot in that first 2 weeks. So this will just be a couple chill weeks. And hopefully we'll get close to our $1,000 goal for May. But I hope you guys had really great sales as well. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.